The perfect stage for a master of illusion. Picture the scene: Paris, 1925. The City of Lights, reborn after the First World War, was pulsing with life. But beneath the glamour and the promise of a bright future lurked an age-old human frailty, greed, and gullibility. It was on this perfect stage that one of the greatest con artists in history, a man of impeccable charm and unmatched audacity, chose to orchestrate his masterpiece. He wasn't after petty sums. His target was something unthinkable, a symbol of an entire nation. Get ready to uncover the unbelievable story of Victor Lustig, the man who dared to sell the Eiffel Tower. Victor Lustig was a true chameleon. Born in Austria-Hungary in 1890, he spoke several languages fluently, mastered the art of disguise, and had a sharp understanding of human psychology. His criminal career was already extensive, ranging from counterfeiting money to selling money-making machines that, of course, did nothing but swallow legitimate bills. But Paris in 1925 offered a new challenge, a blank canvas for his boldest ruse yet. The Eiffel Tower, majestic and imposing, had been erected for the 1889 World's Fair. Though loved by many, its iron structure was constantly criticized by others, who saw it as a temporary monstrosity. What the public didn't know was that the tower's maintenance was outrageously expensive, and there were, indeed, internal government discussions about its future. This became the first pillar of Lustig's con, the perception of vulnerability surrounding the monument. The swindler, posing as a refined count, settled into a luxurious Parisian hotel. From there, he orchestrated every detail with military precision. His goal was just to sell something. It was to sell the idea that the Eiffel Tower was being sold and that this information was a state secret. He knew secrecy would create an aura of exclusivity, making the offer all the more tempting. Lustig forged government documents, printed official-looking stationery, and even created fake stamps to lend legitimacy to the ruse. He introduced himself as a senior official from the Ministry of Posts and Telegraphs, a clever choice, as that ministry was responsible for the tower's upkeep. This meticulous attention to detail became the second pillar of his success. With the forged documents prepared, Lustig sent invitations to 6 of Paris's most prominent scrap metal dealers. The letters were carefully worded, printed on high-quality paper bearing the supposed government seal. They summoned the recipients to a confidential meeting at a luxury hotel to discuss a matter of great national importance. The letters stressed the need for absolute discretion. This was Lustig's third strategy. He chose his targets based not only on their wealth, but also their ambition and tendency for secrecy. Scrap dealers were the perfect audience. They knew the value of iron and, more importantly, could be seduced by the prospect of a highly lucrative and exclusive deal. The bait was set. The question lingering in the air was, who would fall into this intricately woven web? The most absurd sale in history. The meeting at the luxurious Hôtel de Crillon was a show in itself. Lustig, impeccably dressed, with mesmerizing eloquence and a serious demeanor, welcomed the 6 scrap metal magnates. The atmosphere was one of solemnity and secrecy. He began his presentation by explaining, with feigned sorrow in his voice, that the French government faced a difficult dilemma. The Eiffel Tower, symbol of Paris, had fallen into irreversible disrepair. Maintenance costs were prohibitive, and a full restoration was impossible without massive investment, something the country could not afford post-war. The only solution, he claimed, was the discreet demolition of the structure. The government, Lustig explained, has made the painful decision to sell the tower for scrap. However, to avoid public panic and backlash, the operation will be carried out under absolute secrecy. He emphasized the immense costs involved in transportation and dismantling, and thus, the contract would be awarded to the company offering the highest bid. He presented the documents that supposedly confirmed his authority and the legality of the sale. Every word was carefully crafted to ignite both greed and a sense of privilege. The chance to acquire such an enormous volume of iron in a secret and exclusive deal was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and Lustig knew that would blind his victims to any initial skepticism. Among the 6 businessmen One in particular stood out: André Poisson. Poisson was ambitious, with a burning desire to climb the social ladder of Parisian elites. He was determined to secure this deal at any cost. While the others hesitated and asked questions, Poisson saw limitless potential for profit and prestige. Sensing Poisson's eagerness, Lustig employed a genius tactic to confirm his credibility. He casually mentioned the need for a bribe to seal the deal, a small payment that would guarantee Poisson's company would be chosen. This was the true con within the con. A government official asking for a bribe at that time was not seen as suspicious. It was seen as standard practice. It made Poisson feel like he was part of an authentic, behind-the-scenes government deal. Poisson, convinced of the offer's legitimacy and driven by the promise of astronomical profits, paid Lustig a hefty sum, both for the cost of the tower and the bribe. Lustig took the money in cash, handed over the fake purchase documents, and promptly vanished without a trace. He crossed the border into Austria with the cash, confident that Poisson, ashamed of being duped and of having tried to bribe a government official, would never report the incident. And Lustig was absolutely right. Poisson, humiliated and ruined, remained silent, allowing the master of deception to escape unscathed. The legacy of a fraud genius and the need for critical skepticism. The first sale of the Eiffel Tower was a spectacular success for Victor Lustig. Poisson's silence not only ensured Lustig's freedom, but also encouraged him. If it worked once, he must have thought. And so, years later, with his trademark boldness, Lustig tried the same scam again. This time, however, luck was not on his side. One of the new scrap dealers he approached grew suspicious. Perhaps the story had already begun circulating in underground circles. Perhaps the lack of any official news about the Eiffel Tower's sale was simply too strange. Either way, the dealer reported Lustig to the police, sparking an investigation. Although Lustig once again managed to flee, this time to the United States, his reputation as a top-tier con artist had already begun to spread. In the U.S., he continued his criminal endeavors, focusing on counterfeiting and selling his infamous money-making machines, cementing his status as a legendary figure in the underworld. His life ended in 1947 at Alcatraz prison, where he was serving time for counterfeiting, a fitting end for a man who built his fortune on illusion. Victor Lustig's story and the sale of the Eiffel Tower are more than a curious anecdote. They are a case study in human psychology and the art of deception. The con relied on fundamental pillars still exploited by fraudsters today: targeting ambitious and secretive individuals, creating urgency and exclusivity, one-time secret offer, and exploiting greed that clouds rational judgment. The addition of the bribe was the finishing touch, a stroke of genius that paradoxically made the scam feel more real. Lustig's case is a vivid reminder of the importance of critical skepticism. In a world flooded with information and where opportunities seem to emerge at every turn, the ability to question, to fact-check, and to resist the lure of too good to be true deals is more crucial than ever. The Eiffel Tower still stands tall in Paris, a monument to engineering and resilience, and in its own way, a silent witness to one of the boldest and most brilliant scams in history. The lesson is clear: not everything that glitters is gold, and not every secret opportunity is legitimate. Stay alert. History is full of illusionists, and their tricks, though old, still find new victims. What will be the next great deception? If this story left you speechless, imagine how many other mysteries and scams history still hides. On Rastro Sombrio, we dive into the darkest corners of the past to uncover the cons, the enigmas, and the disturbing truths that shaped our world. Don't just skim the surface. Subscribe to the Rastro Sombrio channel now. Hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our investigations, and join our community of mystery hunters. What dark trail should we follow next? Leave your suggestions in the comments.